Right now, Mark, the PEA is number one for us. It's front and center in terms of our focus. The preliminary economic assessment gives us the all-important project economics or forecast economics for the Black Schist project. And why that's important, twofold. Of course, it allows investors to attribute that value to our enterprise value, to our market cap. But possibly more importantly, it underpins our application to the EU for EU grants and project funding as we move the project through its stage gates.
This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Metals One is advancing its Black Schist strategic minerals project in Finland and has made significant progress with the awarding of a contract to Wardell Armstrong International to conduct a preliminary economic assessment. Focusing on its nickel, copper, cobalt, zinc resources, the PEA is expected to be completed by early December and will assess the economic viability of the R1 and P5 resource areas and explore mining and processing schemes, technical parameters, and cost estimates. Well, joining us today is CEO of Metals One, Jonathan Owen. Jonathan, thank you for your time. How are you?
Hi, Mark. I'm very well, thanks. Good to see you again.
Yes, indeed. Good to see you again. So just give us a bit of a catch-up. I know we spoke perhaps at the start of the summer, really. But a few things have been happening. You've been working towards this PEA. You've now appointed Wendell here to go ahead and do it. Just tell us a little bit about what's been going on throughout the summer and how important the appointing of Wendell are in getting this PEA done.
Yeah, sure. You covered it nicely in the introduction. So we appointed Wardell Armstrong, an international mining consultancy, to do this independent study on the, as you say, the project economics for the Black Schist project. So, as you know, we listed not that long ago, July last year. Since then, we've doubled our resource base from around about 28 million tons to just under 60 million tons of Black Schist. Now, this, as you pointed out, is hosts critical and strategic metals such as nickel, copper, cobalt, all the important elements required to underpin this energy transition, the green transition, and the technology transition. So this is all about identifying, supplying these strategic minerals and metals to the European Union, cutting our need for less politically stable sources of these metals, such as Russia, China, Indonesia, and so on. So this is a strategically important project for the EU. So, and with that in mind, we've been going hell for leather to get this project through the stage gates as quickly as possible to help meet the EU's benchmark of 2030 to have these kind of projects in production. So we moved very quickly on the back of doubling our resource to the preliminary economic assessment. Some people call that the scoping study, kind of interchangeable. And the process now is about 50% of the way through. As you say, we're expecting to complete the process in early December. And this will give us all important economic parameters for the project, the forecast, internal rate returns, NPV, CapEx, and so on. Now, our long-term ambition, or medium to long-term ambition, has always been to continue to expand this resource base up to 200 million tons, because that is kind of an arbitrary number, but we felt that at the time of listing, that was what could represent a truly world-class tier one project. But we want to move quickly. We want to move into this EU strategic project status, which is an accreditation, if you like, from the EU, which requires an application process to be deemed such a project. And that process starts in January for us. So the PEA is going to underpin that application. And off the back of that, hopefully we'll get that strategic project status. And with that will ideally come some non-dilutive funding, EU grants, etc., to push the project forward, plus other benefits such as permit fast tracking, and so on. So, we've done that on the back of a 60 million ton resource. Ideally, we would have done that, a year down the line once we had 200 million tons. But hey, we need to move quickly. We need to take the advantage and the tailwinds and get this moving along. So really looking forward to the results of the PEA in December. And like I say, we'll continue to drill then through 2025, continue to upgrade that resource and update the economic assessments as well.
Okay, excellent. Lots to go out there. So, I mean, just first of all, on the European Union there, that strategic project status, you want to make the application in January, hence why you're getting the PEA completed before the end of this year. Is that all you need to effectively apply? The EU expressed any interest, or is it a matter of you effectively applying, saying, hey, look at us, we've got the PEA, take a look, tell us what you think?
No, it's there's certain criteria that have to be met to make an application. We meet all those criteria in terms of location, in terms of potentially making a material contribution to the EU's target for domestic sources of these minerals, plus also having, of course, the key minerals that they're looking for, which is the nickel, cobalt, copper that we have. And so we meet all those criteria. We are on their radar. As I said, the next application window for these projects is in Q1. So we put the application in, and we look to have that adjudicated and deemed probably by the end of Q1, so around about March time. So quite a quick process, bearing in mind we're almost in November now.
Yeah, indeed. And that, as we've talked about before, will effectively unlock, as you said, funding, but also it'll start dropping some, I think, hurdles as well, some sort of barriers, doesn't it? Is what makes things a bit easier. Yeah,
correct. And permitting has always been for any jurisdiction one of the critical path potential bottlenecks, if you like, in getting projects like these into production. So to have the EU backing us and committing to this permitting within a certain time frame, in this case it's within 24 months, it's a huge thing, and it allows us to really focus on what is important, which is, of course, the social engagement, the social license to operate, and of course then the technicalities of actually designing and building a mine.
Indeed. Well, we did, of course, we did a special feature with you, really all about the project and looking at the neighbours in the area. I'll just show this graphic here that was part of a recent RNS. So I wonder if we can perhaps just remind investors of what you have. Of course, Terra Fame right in the middle there. That's really who you're sort of your comparator, who have got that pretty economic resource that's in production at the moment. And then does the PEA cover both the north and the south licence areas of MET1?
Yeah, correct. So looking at the map there, you have bang in the middle there, the little icon, the mining icon with Terra Fame Mine. That is one of Europe's largest strategic metals producers. So they're basically extracting the Black Schists, which is the same mineral as us, producing copper, cobalt, zinc, and nickel. So they are our exemplar. That is really what we're sort of building our model upon, and so to be the next Terra Fame. And we're very fortunate in that we have assets, ore bodies right along that belt that runs from north to south. This Black Schist belt. It's not really so clear in this map, but it's that darker blue pattern that you see running down the map there. They are the sort of identified Black Schist. We have exploration permits right along that the length of that belt. Okay. The 60 million tons I talked about earlier is split between two assets: Paltimo in the north, which is labelled there just top of the diagram, and then Rautavaara to the south. We then, as I said, have a number of exploration permits in between. And you'd have seen last week we announced assay results for one of those additional targets. So to get to that 200 million tons, we have a pipeline of targets, of exploration targets that require some work to increase confidence levels in. It's like a sausage machine, really. They move into the sausage machine. Out comes then additional resources, additional tons to add to that current 60 million tons. The announcement last week was for a target we call P1. That sits up near the existing Paltimo resource that we have, and that gives us sight of, very, very, very quick resource expansion in that particular area, and quite relatively high grades as well for this type of mineralization, up into the early 0.22% nickel and higher. So quite exciting. Those results for us significantly de-risk the exploration process, and put us squarely on that path to 200 million tons that we're after.
Okay, yeah. So that is not going to be included in the PEA. That's more about future resource expansion targeting.
Correct. Future resource expansion. So the PEA is you have to freeze what you have at some point and do the study on that. The indications are that the PEA is looking strong. Adding more tons to that over the next 12, 18 months, let's say, gives us further economies of scale. So those assets will be put into that study. Larger tons, better numbers, better economics. So,
Yeah. Okay. And would you be looking to do any sort of future drilling? I think a recent RNS mentioned that the results from P1 may lead to a future drilling program. Are you going to do that alongside the PEA, or is that something to discuss later?
Well, we won't. We've decided not to drill this side of Christmas.
Right.
The focus is very much on the PEA. It's all hands to the pumps to get that completed on time. The PEA, but by its nature, will identify opportunities, and potential weaknesses that we need to address. So there may be a recommendation there to go and do some additional drilling on our existing resources. Otherwise, it's the focus is on then getting that pipeline of other targets drilled, such as P1, and building up those tons, and that would be into next year's work program.
Okay. So the PEA really is all hands to the pump on the PEA. That's the next big milestone, really. I mean, are there any risk mitigation measures you put in place to avoid any sort of delays so that you can indeed make sure you meet that deadline from the European Union Critical Materials Act in January?
Yeah, the PEA, I mean, it's on track. We have regular steering committee meetings around this, and certain key aspects of it, such as the environmental baselining, etc. We've brought in third parties. So Wardell Armstrong is working with, for example, AFRI. AFRI is a very well known ESG consultancy that's very active in Scandinavia, knows mining in Scandinavia. So they're on the ground doing the work to get that element of the PEA done. So there's lots of moving parts, but lots of parties working together to deliver this. It's not one individual or one team that is
sure
on the hook to deliver this. So I'm confident we'll get it done on time, if not before.
Good. Well, of course, that's a major milestone. When that comes out, you see all those key things. You said the MPV, the IRR, the CapEx. It's a real big, important milestone. I mean, what can investors sort of wait for? And yourself as well. I mean, I guess you're not sitting around just twiddling your thumbs waiting for the PEA to be completed. What's going to be taking your attention?
Well, frankly, my attention is on that until it's delivered. There is a work program to design and develop for next year, which will be directed somewhat by the recommendations of the PEA. So we're still working on the variations and scenarios of what next year's work program could look like in terms of biggest bang for buck. Drilling is expensive, so we want to see good results, and we need to de-risk that. And then, of course, eyes across to Norway on our Rana project. Our partners, Kings Rose, they're still active. They will continue to be active on the Rana project through into next year as well. So keep an eye on that. There'll be news flow coming from that as over the coming weeks and months. So we're not short of activity, that's for sure.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Jonathan Owen, the CEO of Metals One. I'll be standing by for the all-important PEA before the year's end.
Thank you, Mark. Look forward to updating you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.